What should we talk about next?
Well,
We should talk about something really important.
there's a lot of issues going on in the world today that are really important.
I know a lot of people are upset about a lot of things, lots of
Yes.
protesting, lots of outrage.
Yes, a lot of problems in people's lives, people's rights, the economy. But I think the number one most important thing right now is the Munsters trailer.
This Munsters trailer has haunted me. I have not stopped thinking about it for days. I am obsessed with this trailer. I can't believe a major studio released this trailer. It's not even a comment on the movie, because some people are like, oh, the movie looks terrible, the movie looks terrible. Like, I don't even care about that. I'm just fascinated by the trailer. It's the worst trailer I've ever seen released by a major studio. Because it's unfinished. They released it, it's similar to do you remember the Mummy trailer where they released it missing sound? But they immediately took that down.
It was an accident.
It was an accident. This is still up, but it's not on, it was like released on Twitter. There's no official YouTube version, which is weird. Like if you go to like Universal's YouTube page, it's not there. You can find like other people have uploaded it.
At first, I was shocked by the font selection.
That I took notes. I took notes of the whole trailer.
I forget what font that is, but I'm familiar with it.
I don't know the font, but it's it starts with like from Rob Zombie, and it like it zooms in towards the camera. It's like one of those generic like iMovie title plugins.
It looks like the Videonics title maker from the Video 2000. You know that old we used to have that. It's like the very first home title maker.
Yeah.
It looks like that font.
Yeah. And then it does that like shitty like zoom in. It's like an
and
animated title. It looks terrible.
The spacing is weird.
Yeah.
Like the letters are spaced out. They're not even spooky letters.
No. And they're so big, like a children's TV show. So right off the bat, everything's wrong.
Rob Zombie, the director of House of a Thousand Corpses, Halloween, and The Devil's Rejects, brings you the greatest love story ever told.
And the fact that it's like, I get what they're doing with the like, from Rob Zombie, director of House of a Thousand, all these like gritty, hard R movies, to then transition to, haha, but it's for the Munsters. But that raises the question of like, who is this for? Because it's PG, it's clearly like super corny, it's meant for families and children. So why open it with that? Like I get what the joke is supposed to be, but it just seems like a weird way to start your children's film trailer.
Because the Munsters was a TV show that was on,
in
TV.
the 60s.
In the 60s, so it's campy and it's clean for the most part.
Yeah, well that's why start the trailer for it with, like if you're a parent and you find out this is the guy who directed House of a Thousand Corpses, it's an awkward way to start your trailer.
Okay.
My assumption is that Rob Zombie himself edited the trailer. Did you ever see his Grindhouse trailer? Remember the Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez Grindhouse? But in between those two movies, there was fake trailers, and one was by Edgar Wright.
Don't look behind. Don't look inner. Don't look up.
And it's like brilliantly executed.
I think I did see those, but I just don't remember.
Don't. His was called Don't.
Yeah.
It's really like authentic and well done. Eli Roth did one. It's the best thing Eli Roth ever did for his fake slasher movie called Thanksgiving. Then there's the Rob Zombie one, which was like garbage and looked cheap, and again had really bad like titles and fonts. So it looked cheap and it was like awkwardly paced and edited. So I'm thinking he edited this trailer just on his own because Universal didn't want to put any money into marketing.
Okay, it's a good theory. That explains the bad titles.
Bad titles, bad sound. I mean, that's, I think, a lot of people's main takeaway from this. Sound mixing and levels.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that.
It's like a stake through my dead black heart.
I can whip you up a humpy down in the lab.
I noticed there's a line early on from Grandpa Munster where he's like far away on the table.
Yeah.
And it sounds very echoey. It sounds like the scratch track from the production. Like it might not have gotten to the ADR phase yet.
Well, it's even more noticeable because before that, Lily Munster was talking, and her audio's pretty clean. And then it cuts to the other end of the conversation, and yeah, he's like 1,000 miles away, and there's an echo.
I can whip you up a humpy down in the lamb.
Well, and then the other thing I noticed was kind of like Dutch angle, Batman-esque 60s kind of, and then the colorful, lighting.
Yeah.
It kind of looked, and then like the smoke, it looked like
It looks like I mentioned on Twitter, it looks like a commercial for root beer from the 90s.
Yeah,
That they would air
sure.
on Halloween. Or like for Universal Horror Nights or something like that.
Well, you got to, yeah. The Elvira show. You've got to assume that it was intentional, though.
Well, that obviously the visual style is intentional, and that's again like I'm just talking about the trailer. Like if that's what he's going for, that's fine. Even though I think some of it is pretty ugly, and I'm a sucker for garish, colorful lighting, but here it just feels so haphazard. Like just blast a green light onto everything. It doesn't feel like there's thought put into it. The best looking stuff in the trailer is when they didn't have those ugly lights. There's a couple shots where it's like, because the characters are so colorful.
Yeah.
Herman Munster's green, Grandpa's kind of bluish. Them in like natural lighting was more interesting to me than these hideous purple and green LED lights everywhere.
Well, then it gets fantastical. They go to like France, and he's wearing like the black and white striped French outfit.
And that was a cute shot. That was fine.
I don't know. Feels like Tim Burton-y or Ed Woodish because there's some black and white in there.
Yeah, and I think if you take any shot from this trailer and you put it in black and white, and I think it looks better probably than these ugly lights everywhere.
Okay. I'm looking for a vision.
There's one like blood drip transition, and that's like the only weird transition in the trailer, but there's no sound effects to accompany it. There's no sound during anything other than people talking. The mic pops for the opening voiceover narration.
The greatest love story ever told.
Is that the rest of the world melted away as soon as you appeared in my life.
And there's a line that I flat out don't know what Herman Munster said because it sounds garbled because it's just the onset mic.
As soon as you appeared in my life. As soon as you appeared in my life. As soon as you appeared in my life.
Well, he's no Fred Gwynn, and he doesn't have the voice.
Greetings from Transylvania.
That's if we want to talk about the content of the actual movie.
Yeah, and her performance seems very like retro, even earlier than the 60s. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's fine. I know everybody always complains about Rob Zombie putting his wife and stuff. Like, she seems like she'll be fine in that part. It's always, he loves to cast his friends and stuff.
yeah.
And this feels like a pandemic movie too, because there's like 4 actors in the whole thing.
Yeah.
But because that's his wife. The guy playing Herman Munster is a guy that's been in a bunch of his movies. He was the Geico caveman back in the day.
Oh.
That guy. Dan Roebuck is an actor that he's friends with who plays Grandpa, and he seems pretty good in this.
He sounds like Grandpa, yeah.
But again, it just seems like he cast people that he wanted to put in it because they're his friends.
I see, okay, there are technical flaws to this trailer. It is a sloppy trailer. It is weirdly paced.
Yeah.
It's not very well structured in the typical trailer sense. Like, you don't go open up on the shot. I think we did a video about trailer cliches.
Oh, yeah.
In a world, well, there's no voiceovers anymore, but they
Well,
would
there
show,
wasn't this trailer.
The greatest love story ever told.
They would show a little town,
Yeah.
and they would move in, and there would be like smoke, and then eventually you'd see the Munsters' house, and then you'd have little flashes, like the close-up of her fingernails picking up like a skull wine glass or whatever, And
You do what this is trying to do at the beginning, which is first make it feel like it's going to be a serious horror movie.
well, yeah, you could tease a little and then build up. He didn't use Dragula.
No.
I mean, that is restraint. That is the definition of restraint. And then the garage blows open and in my Dragula. I give him points for not indulging in that.
Oh yeah, he has a vision for this movie, and he seems to be sticking to that and not doing his usual like grungy metal nonsense.
Yes, and you can grungify this and metalify this and darkify this into being sort of like what we would expect a Munster. I can't believe I'm having this conversation. A Munsters feature film prequel by Rob Zombie to be.
Yeah.
But this looks like it was directed by Pee Wee Herman, and it looks silly, and that theme song kicks in, and there's no change to the theme song. You know, it's another trend too that I think it's over, but taking old songs and kind of like
the slower,
the slow, like.
I don't think you could really do that with the Munsters.
You could. I just did it. And then, of course, at the end, you do the Rob Zombie rock version, but you tease it in the beginning, just a couple of notes. You remember the Jurassic Park retro?
Yeah.
I think something did...
the Ghostbusters did that, too.
The Ghostbusters did that. And then, of course, unrelated songs like that. I think, it Smells Like Teen Spirit was done in something? Other kind of like rock songs that are recognizable, but they're slowed down and they're played differently. You could do that with a couple of notes of the Munsters. It could be done.
Instead, he went to stockmusic.net and dropped in a song and put his iMovie title over it.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Maybe he did edit it.
I think he did, because I looked up, this isn't just, and this isn't a theatrical movie either. But it's getting a lot of attention, I think, because people are like, Rob Zombie, Munsters, what? This is like cheap shit that Universal just like commissioned to make to throw on a streaming service. Because Universal has a division called 1440 Entertainment that does not like well-known or popular IPs, but like, I kind of remember that thing, so we'll do a direct-to-video sequel to it.
Kindergarten Cop 2. That's how Zach Reed, kindergarten teacher, rolls. Did you just?
Kindergarten Cop 2 with Dolph Lundgren, those recent Tremors movies, Cop and a Half 2, which is a thing that really exists.
Universal properties that are too junky to...
We own this IP, we don't really care much about it, but well, now it's not direct-to-video, now it's, try and sell it to Netflix or something. So like, we'll give a little bit of money to do this thing. So I think this is a case of Rob Zombie can't get bigger movies made. And he also happened to be a big Munsters fan. So I think the studio was like, we own the Munsters.
You want, yeah.
Yeah, most of these other like 1440 Entertainment movies are like, they did a couple of the recent Chucky sequels, which those are actually pretty good. But yeah, just like junk, direct-to-video, direct-to-streaming junk.
Would you be equally mad if it was a dark, gritty reboot?
Well, I'm not mad. I don't care. I have no love for the Munsters. I don't care one way or the other. I'm just fascinated that a studio would release this trailer and a movie that looks this cheap and bad. Even compared to Kindergarten Cop 2, this looks like complete junk, and I'm just fascinated. I'm just fascinated by releasing something that apparently you have so little faith in, but dumping millions into it.
They could probably afford to hire a person that does trailers other than Rob Zombie himself.
Well, that's why I'm wondering if he was just like, oh, the studio doesn't want to put any money into marketing. Fuck it, I'll do it myself. And Universal said, whatever.
That could be the case.
Just release it.
Yeah. Yeah. So questions will be answered.
Probably never.
To quote Prometheus.
The greatest love story ever told.